I can imagine.
Knew nothing about South Africa, had never been yet. But I knew like, all right, this is another opportunity for me to explore more on the continent, and that's what I really wanted to do. So yeah, within like 6 months, I was in Joburg,
Nice.
and what I did, I spoke to some of the people who did my programming who lived here, and they all were like, no, you're gonna love it.
Yeah.
Like, don't even. And it was people from all different backgrounds, like an Asian woman, a black woman, like just different people from different places. And they were like, nah, like, you're gonna like it. And then I did the thing that you should not do, where I like Googled. I went on Google and
Don't
I went on
Google.
all the
Don't
Western,
Google.
all those Western news outlets.
Welcome to Rethink Mindfulness, where we talk about health, fitness, and mental wellness. A lot of people see the word mindfulness and they think yoga class or meditation. But mindfulness can also be you picking your next outfit or you picking your next meal. And it can also be you packing up and relocating to a whole different country. That's exactly what my next guest did, and we're going to find out why. Hello, Jasmin. How you doing?
Hi, I'm so happy to be here.
So happy to be here.
Yeah,
Okay, it's been a long time coming.
it has. Been waiting to get in this seat.
Yeah. I saw you had a killer workout today.
Yeah. Man, Elijah does not let up. Shout out to my trainer. Love you.
Every time I see you, you're holding on to dear life at the gym.
Okay, now. Hold on. I do my best.
Okay, so normally what I do is I like to play a game with my guests just to break the ice.
Okay,
So we're going to play a game. Are you ready?
I guess.
All right, let's do it.
I was born ready.
I know
Let's
you
do
are.
it.
I know you are. Dancing or singing?
Dancing.
Dancing.
Yeah.
Can you dance?
I'm okay.
Okay. Out of 10?
You know.
3?
I feel like you're trying to play me, but whatever. I got a little rhythm.
Okay.
You know.
Okay, I got you. All right, so smile or game face?
I would say my smile.
Your smile.
I get a lot of compliments about how nice my smile is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a tricky question because sometimes you have to put on your game face. Also,
Yeah.
depending where you are.
You know, that's a really good point. And I feel like that is something that I have definitely had to do since I was a child, like have a game face on 24/7, have a wall up, be ready for war. And I feel like since moving to South Africa, I feel like that has dwindled a bit, which has been really good because that means that I'm able to move through the world and life a little bit easier. Not easier, but with a little more ease.
Gotcha.
And I don't have to feel so like,
Yeah.
it's like, moving through the world with ease and with a smile and still knowing that you're going to reach the goals that you want to reach, or you're still going to make things happen. It's kind of like, I guess, like a mindset of manifesting. Like, I know it's going to happen. So, I can move through the world with peace and love and ease. Still very new to me, but I'm working on that.
Gotcha. Wow. That's
in my age and in this place.
Wow. That was meant to be a game question and you went deep.
I know. My bad.
I love it. All right. Cats or dogs?
Oh, I am not an animal person per se. Like, they're cool, but it's not really my thing. But I guess if I had to choose, it would be, oh my gosh, this is really hard. I guess I'm just going to go with dog.
Dog.
I'll go with dog.
Have you owned any before?
I've had a dog before. Me and my sisters, our dog's name was Max, way back in the day when we were younger. But my grandmother loves cats. And I'm also just kind of coming to learn how smart they are. So I'm like, maybe a cat is more the wave. So I don't know.
Got you.
50-50 for me on that one.
Got you. One more.
Okay.
Winter or summer?
Summer, obviously.
Why is it obvious?
Obviously.
Why is it obvious?
Actually, let me be more specific. Because as an American girl, winter could mean different things and summer could mean different things for different people. But I mean specifically African summer. Okay. So, which would be winter. Where I'm from, right?
What is it?
It is. So it's summer now. Here in the U.S., it's winter, although global warming is, But I'm from Jersey, from the East Coast. So, and my birthday is December 30th.
Okay.
So the birthday wasn't that fun when I was living in the States when I was growing up because it's so cold. New Year's is around. Christmas just happened. But since I've been living on the continent in South Africa, December is like peak summer and everyone's happy. Everyone wants to
It's the
celebrate.
mood. Yeah.
You can be half naked. It's great. It's literally the best. Like, I'm
Yeah.
so happy being here because of my birthday. So definitely African summer specifically.
Specifically
Yeah.
African summer. Got you.
Yeah.
All right. You relocated from the States
Yes.
to come to South Africa.
Yes.
What motivated you to do that?
Yeah. Good question. So I am originally from New Jersey. A lot of people ask me like, no, but where is your family from? And I'm like, no, I'm a Black American.
Okay.
And I actually did this program after university where I moved to Uganda for a year. So that was like some years ago. And that was my first time being introduced to the continent, ever coming here. I just kind of like moved to Kampala. I lived and worked there for a year. And when I was there, I applied to business school. And then while I was in business school, I knew I was like, I'm definitely moving back to the continent. Maybe Ghana, most likely, but I'm moving back there. I didn't know that much about South Africa, but the program I was in, there was about 50 of us. So people went different places. So there are a few people who went to South Africa.
Okay.
And after my MBA program, I started working for this company. They do nonprofit consulting and impact consulting. And at the time, they only had offices in India. And I came in with this whole spiel, like, you guys really should think about opening offices in Africa somewhere because, you know, there are definitely a lot of NGOs that could use your expertise, blah, blah, blah. I'm like spitting some G in the interview. And I got that job. And one of the people who were interviewing, he was like, you know what? We might do that someday. You know, maybe you'll be around to like, you know, help lead that charge. And I just was kind of like, okay, whatever. And I got that job 6 months after getting that job.
Wow.
There was like a company email that went out that was like, is anyone interested in relocating to ... That was the subject. And when you opened it, it said South Africa, Johannesburg, South Africa.
Yeah.
And I have never like sent an email response so quickly in life.
I can imagine.
Knew nothing about South Africa, had never been yet. But I knew like, all right, this is another opportunity for me to explore more on the continent. And that's what I really wanted to do. So yeah, within like 6 months, I was in Joburg.
Nice.
And what I did, I spoke to some of the people who did my programming who lived here, and they all were like, no, you're going to love it.
Yeah.
Like, don't even. And it was people from all different backgrounds, like an Asian woman, a Black woman, like just different people from different places. And they were like, nah, like, you're going to like it. And then I did the thing that you should not do where I like Googled. I went on Google and I went on all the Western, all those Western news outlets. And then I was like, oh my gosh, what should I be doing? I said Google alerts, but I was getting like bad Google alerts, like different, like, I guess not great news that was coming out of South Africa. But I still was like, man, bump that, I'm going. And so, yeah, I guess I just always have had an adventurous spirit, and I knew South Africa wouldn't be any different, but I didn't know what to expect. And coming from Kampala, I was like, oh, it's lit here. This is literally the best place that I could be on the continent. And then I just fell in love with it from there. Like, I feel like it didn't even take me a long time. Like Kampala, it took me a couple months to like get into the swing of things, but Joburg, it was like big city. Like, I come from Jersey, so it's not the country, but it's not a huge city like New York, but it's right next to New York. I went to university in Atlanta, which I feel like Joburg really reminds me of. It's like a huge city. You're like, you know, so very diverse. So yeah, I feel like I came in and it was seamless, like easy. I know that sounds crazy, but it was.
Nah, I hear you,
That's the
hear
truth.
you. Yeah. Nah, I got you. Listen, hey, it's a beautiful country.
Yeah.
That's why for some of us, it's very hard to leave.
Yeah.
I love this country.
Yeah.
But what are do you have any specific landmarks or places that you would like to explore here?
Yes. So I have been here for 4 years now. So you would think that I've been everywhere, but I haven't. The biggest one that comes to mind is Durban. I still have not been to Durban yet. And I've heard like so many good things about Durban. Just like, you know, about the beaches, specifically the food. Like, I go to the market in Melrose Arch on Fridays, and there's this Indian woman there. She's from Durban, and I get her like lamb curry every Friday. And so she's always like, you need to come and visit my city. Like, you need to come and visit Durban. And I'm like, yeah, I know. no, I really do. And, I also understand that it's like Zululand as well. So I just feel like there's probably a lot of like rich culture and history there that I haven't really experienced yet living in like the big city. So I really still want to go to Durban. I also want to go to the Cradle of Humankind. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't been there yet, but I feel like that feels like something a touristy Black American person would do.
You have to go.
Because it's like, you're literally in the motherland. Like, go to the Cradle of Mankind so you can prove it.
Yeah.
Like, obviously. So, yeah. Those are like the main places. I guess like Sun City, but that's kind of like party vibes.
Party vibes.
That's party vibes, but
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm open though. I want to go everywhere.
I hear you. You spoke about food. How do you find the local cuisine here compared to back home? How do you find it?
Okay. This is a very interesting question, and I'm going to try to be as honest as I can.
Okay.
Because when you say local cuisine, you mean like traditional South African food, not what I'm eating at a restaurant per se. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. I like it.
Okay.
But it could be that, I don't know, the local cuisine for me like reminds me of local cuisine in many of the African places that I've visited. So like if I'm in Kigali, if I'm in Kampala, if I'm in like some parts of Nigeria even, I feel like you have this kind of starch, you have like a small amount of a green, and then you have some meat with some gravy. I feel like that's pretty common. The difference is just kind of like how it's prepared, or like I guess spices. So specifically, saying all that to say, I am who I am, and I am not a huge fan of pop.
Okay.
I please don't
Everybody's
don't
a huge
cancel
fan
me.
of pop, though.
I know everyone loves it.
Yeah.
And if I am like at a braai or somewhere, like I can eat it. But if I'm being honest, I would really prefer what you're giving me with rice.
Okay.
Yeah, you just looked at me a little weird too. So
Like I'm trying to
you're like,
understand.
what? So because I think even in West Africa, right, like you have fufu, you have something that is very similar to pop that you're using to like pick up. And for me, I just feel like maybe it's because I grew up on rice as the thing that you would cover with something.
Yeah.
That's why it's my preference. But yeah, like pop is cool, but if there's a rice option, I'm probably gonna get that and put the chicken and gravy on top of that. I know. It sounds a little disappointing. I know.
Interesting.
It might be a little disappointing, but I still love you, South Africa. I love the braai for sure. Which for Americans watching, that is like barbecue. It's barbecue.
Barbecue here is a spice.
Right. Barbecue here is an actual spice. It's so interesting. Like, I think it's very interesting that like on most burgers, you guys put barbecue sauce.
A sauce, sorry, not a spice.
It's a sauce.
Yeah.
And I'm just always like, what? This is crazy. But I think the really cool thing about like South African barbecue or braai is that you guys, it's really about the meat. Like you don't need to like, slather it in sauce like we do. Our way is great as well. But, I just feel like you guys cook specifically for the seasoning. Like that's what you're grilling for. And I feel like it hits every time.
Yeah, we don't mix.
And I'm always like, is there mustard? Is there this? And people are like, girl, you got, what else? What more do you need?
Why would you cover the
What do
meat?
you need?
Have it the way it is. Yeah.
Exactly. I love braai.
Yeah.
And then I love like, I have a couple of like videos on my Instagram and my TikTok of me like trying different traditional foods. So I love mukodu.
Okay.
I love cow tongue. I tried lamb trotters last year in Soweto.
Yeah.
Loved it. Demolished it. And then what else? Yeah, like I love all that stuff. It's just bop that I'm like, can I have rice instead? I wouldn't say that at someone's house though. I know better.
Have you, like, I'm starting to wonder which places have you been exposed to that
No,
made pop so bad?
I've had it, like friends have prepared it for me. I've had it at like corporate events. I've had it in a restaurant.
You need new friends.
I've had it in I had it at night. What is it? 1942 on Vilakazi. That place. There's this restaurant in Soweto that's like a traditional restaurant.
Yeah.
I've had it there. It's fine. It's just like not my favorite
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's preference. At the end of the day, it's just preference.
Yeah.
I got
But
you.
I love all the other food. The meats, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Pause.
I
But
got
yeah,
you.
totally.
Okay. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What are the cultural differences that you've experienced here?
I feel like this is going to get me canceled.
No.
You know. The first one, and I think probably the obvious one, is the cultural differences in South Africa when it comes to colored people and black people. And I feel like there's always a Twitter argument every week between South Africans and Black Americans.
Yeah.
With regards to this, the main one you can probably remember most recently is with Tyla.
Yeah.
So for me, living here after 4 years, it's like now I'm starting to understand it a bit more. But when you first hear as a Black American, it's just very different connotation. And I guess it also matters like where you are in the world. So if you have Black Americans who are coming here, it's like, okay, then you have some time to like actually dive into what that actually means. I mean, you could do it there too, but
Yeah.
I just kind of feel like if you're in my hood, you need to abide by how we see things and like move that way, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like also I feel like if you're in America, people are probably going to refer to Tyla as a certain way. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to call her colored there,
What?
even though she
supposed to call
is.
somebody colored in America?
Right. You're not really supposed to call someone colored in America just because it comes with a context of like back in the day, right after slavery, like colored, you're talking about like black people.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
You're not really talking about like that's who you're talking about.
So what do you say? Mixed race?
So yes. However, also, I will say, America is like a huge like race-based place, right?
Okay.
So like that's basically how it became this powerhouse. It's like these people enslaved these people, and all the people who were enslaved, they were
Okay.
black, right?
Yeah.
So amongst others, but mostly black in this context. So in America, if you had one drop of black in it, it's called the one drop rule.
Yeah.
If you got a drop of black in you, you black.
You're black. Yeah.
So Tyler's black
Yeah.
in America.
Yeah.
But I think so I don't know, for me, it was just very surprising, not necessarily the idea of colored people and black people being separate here based on, how things went historically, apartheid, and just how both of those cultures like have evolved over time, right?
Yeah.
It's more so just like that. For us, it's like, no, if she's mixed, she's black. Like most of the time,
hear you.
unless you are like a white passing person
Yeah.
and that's how you live your life,
Yeah.
we can get into nuance, right? We can get into identity, but that's kind of how things have been historically measured in our country. Also, the other thing that I learned here is that like when I say mixed race, or when we say mixed race, you have a white or black mother and a white or black father.
Yeah.
But here, when you think about like colored people as a culture, it's not so simple as like, oh, you meet someone who's my age and her mom is black and her dad is white, or even their grandmas. But it's like, no, this is like generations of people who are like mixed, and it's not just black and white either. It's also like Indian or like other cultures that have like, so yeah, I think that has been like the biggest thing for me to really grasp and kind of sit with and check my privilege and actually like listen to people whenever they're talking about it. For me also, it's just very interesting the way that certain people talk about the different cultures, right? So I hope this is not crass, but sometimes when you meet some people, they have it's not always a negative connotation, but the connotation with being colored, I don't know. I find that it's just like so dynamic. Like on one hand, you have certain people who feel like, colored people have more opportunities than the average like black person in South Africa. They have more access, they're maybe closer in proximity to whiteness. But then on the other hand, people who have talked to me about, the conditions that colored people live in, their neighborhoods, how they're not always in the best neighborhood, or how many people have like deemed them as like the wild ones or the crazy ones. And I promise you, it's the way that people talk about Black Americans, which is why I feel like I can kind of
Interesting.
relate, you know, like
Yeah.
I can relate in the sense that, you know, I feel like people kind of talk about colored people in a way that's like, oh, they crazy. And I feel like that's how people talk about Black
It's
Americans
very
too. Like,
interesting to me. Yeah.
People who are in America and they are like, I don't know. I can't really say specifically, you know what I mean? But like, I know that there are, because I've experienced it myself, there have been groups of people who are not Black Americans. So they might be Nigerian and they grew up in America. They might, like, I grew up in a city where a large percentage of the people who live there were Liberian African people from West Africa.
Okay.
So, you know, you just have different groups of Black people and the way that they interact. And I just find that the tone and the energy and some of the words used to describe colored people in this country by other groups, it feels like the way that people describe us in the US, like, oh, they crazy, they got all this opportunity, they don't da 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 da. You know, like to me, it feels very similar.
Yeah.
Even though here, I'm like, but no, we're Black.
Yeah.
Like I'm considered a Black person. But I don't know. I've had multiple people be like, oh, you look colored. I'm like, what?
Yeah, you do look
Or
colored a
they'll
little
be
bit.
like, but then some people will be like, oh no, you look Xhosa or you look
Yeah.
Zulu or whatever. So
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, I love that for me. I just fit in wherever. But yeah, I don't know. I just always find that, hopefully I explained it well enough for people to understand.
think you did, yeah.
But yeah, I just find that that is a very interesting like connotation that is with that group.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is the one of the like biggest shockers for me. Other than that, it's simple things like when I'm at a stoplight and I have to say robot instead of stoplight because the Uber driver is like, what? Or something like that, you
Yeah.
know? Or what's another one? Oh, this one still gets me. I've been here for 4 years. I still can't tell you the difference between now, and just now.
Yeah. Normally when we say now, it's at least 2 hours.
Yeah, that makes no sense. Because now means urgent, bro. Like, what?
And
And then just now means right away.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess.
But it doesn't normally happen right away.
Okay. So, and then now with nothing else?
Oh, that's going to take a long time.
Exactly. Exactly. So, hopefully, that's something I'll catch on to.
This
With
is
more
interesting.
time.
Wow, this is interesting.
Yeah.
I can't let you leave here without talking about the music.
Oh,
I
God.
know music is a universal language.
It is.
But what do you
It
think
is.
about our music?
I love South African music. I love South African music. And I feel like if you watch any of my YouTubes and I'm dancing, please don't laugh at me. I'm just trying to I'm just trying to feel the music like the rest of y'all. Like I love Amapiano.
Okay.
I got here September 2019. And from my understanding, I think that's when Amapiano really started like getting more traction and like especially in Joburg, I guess.
Yeah, it's been here for longer, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay, fair.
Yeah.
But I just remember like coming here and hearing the music and being like, what is this? And then like immediately feeling like, oh, I've fallen in love with it. At the
Yeah.
time I was dating a Zulu guy and he was taking me like, we would go everywhere and it would be like, he was heavy on the Amapiano.
Yeah.
And we're not dating anymore. It's been years now. And I'm like, it's my vibe. I have
Yeah.
playlists. I try to listen to it when I'm at home
Yeah.
with my
Yeah,
sisters.
he plugged you, didn't he?
He did. And also I just feel like I'm from Jersey. So that's like New York, Philly area. And you get a lot of house music there.
Yeah.
Like my uncle Scott, he is like a huge house music person. It's what I grew up with. So I just remember, follow me, something like that. And then I come here and it's like, nah, South Africa is like a house music country.
Yeah.
Like you really gonna hear some house. So I just kind of love that like I've like moved away from home, but I'm here and I feel like, oh man, this makes me feel like when I was like growing
Yeah,
up and
yeah.
I've never heard this house song before in my life.
Yeah.
So I feel like the music has definitely been a major factor of like why I love SA so much.
So Amapiano is your jam.
It is my
It's your
jam.
genre.
It is my genre.
Do you have any particular song?
I knew you were going to ask me this. I knew you were
have
going to
to.
ask me this.
I
I
have
knew you were
to.
going to. Oh my gosh. I can't believe.
I have to know.
Okay. I am not going to embarrass myself. But I will say, bruh.
That many?
Okay, I just don't want to butcher the word. I don't want to
No,
mess
I'll
it up.
help you out.
Okay,
Give
cool,
it a
cool,
try.
cool.
Give it a shot.
Okay, so it's one song that I love and will love forever. It's an older I'm a piano song, or it's just not new. I think it's called Aklaleli.
Aglaleg.
I think. You better cut this part out of you better cut this part. I'm telling you. But the song is saying Asambeni.
Oh.
What is it called?
I think it's something Soweto.
That's who sings it, but that's not the name of the song. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my that's like my favorite I'm a piano song.
Okay.
But I have like a whole playlist. I just can't.
Yeah. Okay, no, I got you.
I don't know. I knew you were gonna ask me this. I thought it was gonna be
You
an artist. I was about to
pronounced it
say,
well, though.
"Wow, that's crazy." No, I don't think I did.
You pronounced it well. Aglaleg.
Is it?
Like we ain't sleeping.
Oh, is that what that means?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We're
You know
going
what's
out.
so funny?
Yeah.
When I'm in Ubers, I'm always like, "Hi, can you play YFM?" And they're like, many of them are like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yes, please YFM." And then like some I'm a piano song will come on, and the Uber guy will be like, "Are you from here?" And I'm like, "No." And then he's like, "Do you know what they're saying in the song?" And I'm like, "No, but I just like it." And you can tell they're like, "Wow."
Yeah. It's a jam. It's a universal
It's
language.
a jam.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this. For somebody that's trying to relocate to South Africa,
Yeah.
what would you tell them from your experiences?
That's a really good question. I would say, I guess maybe 3 things. Number one. First, I would say try to do like a short-term stint before you come if you can. So maybe don't decide on a city in South Africa too quickly. Maybe a good idea would be to like spend your first month in Joburg and then your second month in Cape Town, if that's something you are able to do, just to give yourself a better idea of both cities and whether or not you want to be in either one. Because I feel like they give you 2 very different vibes. Like I feel like Cape Town is more, I don't know, it's more beaches, more touristy. But people love it there. Like everyone wants to live there.
Yeah.
Whereas like Joburg is much quicker. I feel like it's a bigger city, faster pace. So my first piece of advice would be to try to spend time in both cities before you make a decision about where you want to be long term. My second piece of advice would be
Come on, you
my
gotta guide. You gotta guide the people.
My second piece of advice would be to join Facebook groups. I know that sounds crazy and you're like, what? But there are like so many Facebook groups of people who live in South Africa, who are from America or other places. Go on TikTok. There are so many like content creators who live in South Africa. Or even if they're not content creators, they're just people who live here and, you know, you get a better idea of like what life is like here. Because I think one of the main things that might be a challenge for a lot of people when they move is the time difference.
Yeah.
I'm from Jersey, and the time difference between here and there is like I'm 7 hours ahead here. So it's very hard to like talk to my niece before bedtime, you know, or I have another niece who lives on the West Coast. So I'm 10 hours behind. I'm 10 hours ahead of them. So that's even harder. So just think about, you know, the time difference and the difficulty that it might present with regards to like keeping in touch with family, especially if you're someone who is like very family oriented. I find that that can be a challenge.
Yeah.
The last piece of advice I will give you is to prepare yourself for load shedding. Load shedding is when the power is out in certain areas in South Africa. And I know this comes with what I'm saying is it's very privileged of me. But it's reality. And I feel like it's something that, you know, South Africans have grown up with and dealt with over time, like their lives. So I find that if it still annoys them, it's allowed. I'm allowed to be annoyed. I'm allowed to be annoyed as well. Now, I won't complain shouting from the rooftops, of course, because they are hosting me in their country. But I'm just saying that is something that it will take some time to get used to. So just remember that there is load shedding here.
I don't think anybody
Don't
can be
hop
used
on.
to it. Nobody's getting used to it.
Don't hop on Facebook or Twitter and going crazy because it's like I don't have any power. You know, like just be prepared for power outages, man.
Okay.
I don't know how prepared you can be, but
You can't be prepared for
yeah,
that.
yeah.
That is a lot.
I'd say those things. Other than that, if you want more advice about moving to South Africa or relocating to SA, I'm dropping an ebook on relocating to SA. Basically, a how-to guide, everything that you need to know, a little bit of SA history, housing things that you might want to know, visa things, places that you should think about exploring, moving to, real estate information, banking, literally everything that you can think of. I'm dropping it in an ebook and that'll be out this week. So you'll have a how-to guide to guide you right through it.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice. Okay, let me put you on the spot and ask you this.
Oh no. Oh my God.
No, it's nothing crazy.
Oh, okay, cool.
What's the craziest thing you've ever experienced here?
The craziest thing.
Yeah.
That's a great question. And I don't want to ruin the purity of this podcast.
Okay.
So let's move on. What I'll say is I have had my phone has been swiped twice, which I feel like that's not that crazy.
Yeah.
It's not that crazy.
It's not that crazy.
It's not that crazy. But for me, what's crazy is the way that it was done.
Please explain how it was done.
The way that it was first time, it was like my first year here and I went to Pride. Pride was in Sandton. So it's like hundreds, thousands of people. You're all outside. That's not a big deal. It's like, all right, that's fair. One time it happened in Woolworths, inside of Woolworths
come on.
in Sandton City. I promise you. For anyone who's American and who wants to know what Woolworths is, it's a pretty fancy grocery store, right?
Yeah.
Like for us, it would be the equivalent of maybe even more fancy than Trader Joe's. I feel like it's kind of like Whole Foods. Like if somebody stole your phone when you were at Whole Foods. And it was really just like a 3-person effort that like we're like tag teaming.
Okay.
And I wasn't really paying attention.
So you were
It
distracted.
sounds crazy. I wasn't really paying attention, but until like it was too late. But I realized, it was like one person following me, kind of like going wherever I am and like grabbing what I'm grabbing. And I'm just thinking like, y'all don't be giving people a lot of personal space in this country. So it's me. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like that's just something that I need to get used to. Personal space is not a big thing here. So I'm thinking that she's just in your personal space. Like you're in her country. Get over it. And then I feel like after a while, this person kept being where I was. And then there was like a girl who was like a little bit younger than her who kind of was around too. But I'm like, oh, whatever. And then there was a man, I thought it was like the husband, and he has a cart. And I feel like at some point I was like with all three of them. And I'm just like picking up a 4-bean salad. Like, oh yeah, let me get some beets. And I think that like they must have just literally went in my pocket and was able to like grab it out because I'm like here. And I would look at the person very close to me like,
yeah.
And it's like you're like looking at this person, but someone else is actually probably like grabbing.
They
played me so well. They played me so well. And I had the nerve to have a little attitude. Like before I knew that my phone was taken, I just remember like one of them would be very close to me and I would be like, ugh. So I would be like with attitude too. And then I have thinking like, you need to check yourself. Yeah. You're in their country. You are like, that's personal space. Like you just need to get, you need to get adjusted to the cultural differences. Meanwhile, nah, babe, they played you. They played you and they got you. They got you well. And I couldn't even be mad. I just was like, that's what you get.
Well, now
you was over here ready to fight because somebody's in your personal space. And meanwhile, nah, they are there's a strategic situation happening here that you're missing. So yeah, I feel like that was just like, wow. Yeah. That's something you would see for me, that's something you see on a movie. Yeah. And it was just like, wow, Jasmine, you were the butt of the joke that time.
Yeah. That's why you gotta be mindful.
You gotta be mindful. You gotta be mindful.
Wow, Jasmine, this was fun.
Yeah, I'm glad we finally got to do this. Finally.
Where do people find you?
All handles, Twitter. Just kidding. All handles. Let me start over.
You don't have Twitter.
I do, but it's not one for people to see. All handles, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Jazzy Jetsets, JAZZY JETSETS. I use most of my platforms to talk about life living in South Africa as a Black American, and just showing me traveling throughout the continent. That's my preferred place to travel. I want to go to basically every country in Africa, and talking a little bit about identity on different platforms and podcasts and things like that. So follow me, check me out, and yeah, let's connect.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell so you are notified every time we upload. And again, mindfulness can be anything, from putting on the right outfit, from picking the right meal, or from relocating all the way across the globe. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.